O Allah, guide me among those whom thou hast guided thee right, and preserve me among those whom thou hast preserved, and befriend me among those whom thou hast befriended. Bless me in whatsoever thou dost grant me, and deliver me from the evil of what thou hast judged. Surely thou judgest, and none can judge against thee, and he whom thou befriendest is not disgraced. Blessed art thou, O Lord, and exalted be thee above what they set up besides thee. I bear witness, nothing deserves to be served besides thee, and I bear witness that Muhammad is thy servant and apostle. Amen.
Peace and blessings, family. Assalamu alaikum. I'm Sajdah, Wendy Muhammad, and y'all know that I have been on a mission to introduce to you these wonderful emerging new market leaders and industry disruptors from the Mo Today Black Muslim Business Directory. And so I'm working on new platforms and other ways to get the word out there about you. So we picked 19 shows to test out on our new Roku network called Mo Today. So if you have Roku TV, and if you bought a TV in the last 2 years, they're all equipped with Roku at this point. Go out there and add the Mind of an Entrepreneur show to your channel list. The icon's gonna be Mo Today, and you should see it right here in the corner. And get access to the channel, and you will start to see some of our wonderful shows that are listed up here on our new Roku channel. This is just a little tester. Let's see if y'all like it. Let me know in the chat what you think, and go out there and add the channel to your Roku lineup. Let me show you what it looks like to your Roku lineup. Let's see, it'll look like that. There it is. Peace and blessings.
Enjoying precious moments with family and friends is what the holidays are all about. Taking care of your health is also important. Peripheral artery disease, also known as PAD, is a serious medical condition affecting 8.5 million American adults. If you're experiencing leg pain, leg swelling, or difficulty exercising, then you may have PAD. PAD can put you at a risk of a heart attack or stroke. If you or a loved one has any of these symptoms, call today or visit mivcmd.com for more information.
Assalamu alaikum. Peace and blessings. You're tuned in to the Sajdah Saturday Morning Coffee Talks, where we talk about life, love, and business. Assalamu alaikum. Peace and blessings, family. How's everybody doing today? I'm so excited. You know what? When I was talking to somebody the other day, the person said to me, "You always operate from," this is the biggest compliment, "from the spirit of revelation." And I said, yeah, because I want to be beyond my intellectual capacity. I want to do stuff that maybe I intellectually don't really know how to do, but I love that interaction with Allah where I have to pull on Him. And sometimes it gets scary, right? And even in the fear, you learn. And so shout out to everyone here in the chat. Peace and blessings. Welcome, welcome. I see you all here. Brother Lamont, Sister Betty, Sister Alisa, thank you. Sister Anissa, praise be to Allah. I learned that my stepbrother, Riddell, usually chimes in on Saturday Morning Coffee Talk. So Riddell, if you are here, shout out and a big hug to you. Love you, bro. Hey, Mom. See, Mom's jumping in. Thanks, Mom. But shout out to Riddell if you are watching. I'm always honored when people take a moment to listen. So yeah, you're listening to the Sajdah Saturday Morning Coffee Talk, or you're watching it, whichever you're doing. And this coffee talk show was born out of just really great conversations. People who come and stay and hang out at my house would say, you know what, in the morning, you'd be on point. And I said, okay, well, you know what, let's start doing a Sajdah Saturday Morning Coffee Talk. So that's where this came about. Shara says she caught the live show. Walaikum salam. So welcome everyone. Couple quick announcements. You all saw that we are testing out our new Roku network. So if you have Roku TV, go and add the channel, The Mind of an Entrepreneur. You saw the clip. We are looking for sponsors and commercials. So if you want to sponsor coffee, a coffee cup, whatever, go out there and send me an email to mindofanentrepreneur@gmail.com. Let's see. She says, Pam, there's some feedback in the sound. Am I the only one hearing it? Is Sister Letha the only one hearing feedback? Let me know. If you want to advertise on our new channel or here, send me an email and I'll tell you we're looking for 60-second clips and ways in which you can sponsor and get your information out there. If you want to be a guest on the show, you can send an email to this same email address. So use that email address to be a guest on the show. I don't know why this feedback. Good question, huh? Y'all know the devil stay busy. Okay, so a lot of you are saying you're receiving feedback. I don't really know what to do about it. I don't have anything else on that's competing with it, and there's no other speakers or anything in the room. So who knows? Y'all know the devil stay busy. If it gets too bad, let me know. We can always go out and come back in. We're also live on Twitter as well. So it could be the Twitter feed that the streaming service is using. We'll see. Let me know in the chat. Is it too bad for you all to listen, or is it just slight? So let me know that. So anyway, back to that. Send an email to this email address if you want to be a sponsor, or if you want to put in your commercial. Our prices are super reasonable. If you want to be on the show, you can send an email to that address as well. And we're going to start taking little breaks. We have not uploaded the Sajdah Saturday Morning Coffee Talks because we talk about so many things that I have to put some categories on it in order for them to be able to create titles. So I'm going to work on that over the weekend. And so not only are the Mo Today series on Black Muslim businesses going to be there, but then the Sajdah Saturday Morning Coffee Talks and our Manifestation series. So that's the idea, right? And our Mo Today series on Black Muslim businesses is called Emerging New Market Leaders. So that's exciting. And so yeah, that's it. I wanted to talk today. This is something that's been on my mind for often. I talked about it a little bit before. And it's about love and judgment. You know how much stress you create or we create when we're constantly judging people and packaging up God's work? Have you ever thought about that? Because it's interesting because it's a way of thinking that is so popular in this world where we're not taught to think like divine beings. I try my best to organize my thoughts to think about. So Mom said the feedback is not too bad. She turned her sound down, and that helped. Okay, and maybe if I turn my sound up, You guys can turn your sound down. That may help. Let me know. Let me know in the chat. Okay. So learning to think as a divine being is really an art and a skill because we've been taught to think like slaves, like colonized people. We see ourselves through the eyes of white supremacy. So there's things about our body that we automatically, it's like a computer program in our brain where we look at our body and we immediately compare it to a certain body, that maybe the body of a white person or a colonizer. And immediately we go, okay, I don't like this, I don't like this, I don't like that. And the question is why? That creates so much stress. And then because we're in this position of insecurity and always worrying, always comparing ourselves to somebody else, always looking and judging somebody else. What are they doing? Why aren't they doing this? They should be doing that. If I was them, I'd be doing that. And all of that energy could be going towards us, but moving into a divine, to ourselves, I should say, moving into a divine way of thinking. And it sounds a little weird, but you don't care about those things. And I don't mean that in a negative, evil kind of way. Like, I don't mean that. What I mean is that you don't care because you realize that Allah is in charge. You don't care because you realize that Allah has the power to use whomever and whatever He wants. See, when we're worrying and judging and comparing, we're comparing our house to somebody else's, our car to somebody else's, our face to somebody else's. We don't even know how to really just admire beauty without comparing it and packaging it up. Think about that. We have to say, oh, it's a beautiful day outside. Well, what makes some days more beautiful than others? If you really think about it in the totality of things. We're alive, we're here. Whatever the weather is doing, it's serving a purpose. God knows what He's doing. So why are some days more beautiful than others? Why? And that's a basic example. But why do we package up like that? And as soon as you label something and package something, you can control it, you can limit it. But once we start doing that, it puts us in a very insecure position. And then that insecurity leads to more and more judgment because we're on the search, not for God. We're not on the hunt for God everywhere, like we talk about on the show. We're on the hunt for the right path. We're on the hunt for what it is that we believe is right. And I'm not talking about the right path spiritually or the right path religiously. I'm talking about just the right path with life. So that's why some of us, you see, we're like a flight of ideas. One minute we dress like this, the other minute we look like that. The next minute we looking to see what so-and-so is doing. But in terms of our own creativity and our own confidence in ourselves, we're missing. And this insecurity creates dissatisfaction. And the dissatisfaction, right, can become so big that it becomes envy, it becomes jealousy. It can become literally like a demon inside of us that's destroying everything about us. Because once you get your mind to saying, I don't like this about myself, I don't have that about myself, I don't have enough of this, I don't like that. You start turning things around and living a life of subtraction. When we do that, what are we doing? All we're doing is literally our subconscious mind is then searching for that. Because now the ego kicks in and we want to be right. We want to be right. Yeah, I was right. I am fat. Yeah. So when somebody calls you fat, go, "Oh, yeah, no, I was right." Or we say, "Yeah, I was right. I am ugly." Or, "Yeah, I'm right. My teeth are messed up." So we're validating the attachment to the image that we have of ourselves that comes from that insecurity. So when we start to see ourselves as the divine and go back to the root of our thinking and realizing that we really are descendants of Almighty God. What does that mean? That's so hard for so many of us to conceptualize because believing in a spook God, in my opinion, is one of the most dangerous things that you can do if you're striving to align yourself with Allah. Believing in a spook God, one of the most dangerous things that you can do. Why? Because you don't have anything tangible that you're holding on to. Nothing's real. But if you really understand, like we're taught from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, that and the Honorable Mr. Louis Farrakhan, that we are descendants of the Most High God. If you think about that physically, it has to be the case. Because if you just keep tracing it back, you got grandparents and great grandparents and great great grandparents and great 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 grandparents and great 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 grandparents, and just keep going all the way back until you get to God. So yeah, you materialize here. You are the descendants of Almighty God Himself. So if you're His descendants, then why don't we think like that? Why don't we think like a divine descendant of God? It's because we've been taught to think like slaves. I know people don't like that word. A lot of times people say, but that's not relevant today. Some people turn off when you use the word slave. But sometimes, we'll say colonized people. But I really want you to think about the mind of a slave. The mind of a slave that lives in a space of limitation. Who has been taught that no matter what you do, you don't own yourself. And in a way, we think like that. A slave who's been taught that I gotta be careful what I say, I gotta be careful what I do. We don't think about being able to create. Not like I can go do anything other than if I need to make money, I gotta get a job. And what's interesting about the day and time in which we live is not only is manifestation materializing even faster. I tell you guys all the time, we gotta be so careful how we treat people. That person that you may say is broke today, it's probably just one contract, one person away from being wealthier than they've ever been in their entire life. Times have changed. Things are different. But what's also different is that there was an economic system set up to support that slave mentality, right? So we went to work, we had jobs, we stayed on our jobs for 25, 30 years. And now I think the average length of employment 3 to 5 years is really long. So you see companies, they open, they close, they open, they structure. Times have changed. And so when we used to be in a position where we could kind of steal away and bridge ourselves away from working a 9 to 5 into becoming an entrepreneur, doing something for ourselves. Sometimes it's happening overnight. Because we get laid off, can't find a job. We have mistakes that make we make make us unemployable. We have an educational system that has failed us. And so in a lot of cases, we're unemployable because of that. Or we're underemployed. So we go to school, we get several degrees, attorneys, doctors, we come out, neuroscientists, people major. I was talking to somebody the other day, and she said that her son, she had paid all this money for her son to go to Stanford. Her son went to Stanford, and she was literally had him traveling from Chicago to Stanford, and he ended up majoring in communication. And she said that wasn't something she wanted him to major in. She wanted him to major in something else, because she's looking at getting her money's worth out of it, right? And he's working a very small job, making $20 an hour. And he's trying to break into, his words to me were, I'm trying to break into the field of communication. And I said, well, what does that mean? What does that mean if you want to be a journalist? What do you want to do? But my point is, I also walked in Starbucks the other day, and there was this young girl in there talking, and she had her master's degree, and Starbucks was her full-time job as a barista. Now, I'm not looking down on being a barista. Did you go to school for 8 years to become a barista? Or did you go to school for 8 years thinking that you were going to be a neuroscientist or whatever? So we have this massive movement of people being underemployed. And it happens to all of us. See, even as entrepreneurs, there's not a word for underemployment, if you will, for us as entrepreneurs. But even as entrepreneurs, as executives, I used to have this conversation all the time back in Maryland with my business partner. And I said, as CEOs and presidents, and owners of companies, compare us to our counterparts, we are doing way more than what they do. We do administrative stuff. I ain't got no problem mopping, cleaning the toilet, whatever I got to do. You just wouldn't see a CEO or a president of a company doing that. So I'm saying that this whole mindset of us living as slaves, slave-minded people, as opposed to divine-minded people, is beginning to manifest in our world. Now, if that person told me, yeah, I'm working this job, I'm working here at McDonald's, I have this small job now, but it's because I'm creating my business on the side, or I'm moving and developing. But a lot of us are just lost. We can't find a job and we're just lost. But there's an interesting shift happening. Where companies can't hire people. Well, an example, what is they doing? Where are they? Why aren't they working? Because people may have finally gotten hip to the game. That's what I think. So I'm going to take a quick break. We're going to come right back for the Sajdah Saturday morning coffee talk. And I'm going to go into a little space about love and divine love and how, just what does that mean when I say us thinking in a divine way or like divine beings. We talked a little bit about that not being a judgmental space that we live in, but what does it mean in terms of how we handle other people, but how we actually see ourselves and the level of perseverance that love gives us. So sit tight, we'll be right back.
This is Sister Sajdah Muhammad. We are proud to announce that the Sajdah House commemorative Elijah coins are finally here. As we renovate and restore the former home of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, we have recycled the old copper gutters and downspouts and created a 1-ounce 39-millimeter coin made of 100% pure copper. Each coin is professionally graded and has its own barcode and registration number. This priceless heirloom, made from recycled copper from the messenger's home, is now available at sajdahhouse.com. www.sajdah.com.
So we're back here to the Sajdah Saturday morning coffee talk. And I wanted to see Brother Anthony said, Assalamu alaikum, dear SSNC family. I was over on Twitter, but I was hanging out dolo by myself. I was missing the interaction. Yeah, Twitter's a new platform, so and it's a little different, right, on Twitter because the interaction is not the same. I love this where we can see the chat and talk to each other, and I love seeing you all interact. Oftentimes I don't say anything because I can't always keep up with you all and talk, but before we went to break, we were talking about love and operating in that space of divine love and understanding our divinity as a person and how those negative things and those insecurities that are baked into our culture, that are part of the propaganda and the making of slaves and the making of a slave-minded person, pinches us off from our divinity. And even down to the work that we do, what we decide to do with ourselves, what we decide to do with our lives, one of the biggest impediments and the pinching off that occurs is when we are very judgmental. I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, and she goes to a really big Christian church in Los Angeles, and she was sending me some of the lectures and stuff like that from the pastor, and I was like, wow, and I sent it to another relative, and they were like, you think that's good? You think that's cool? You're a Muslim. And I said, a Muslim just means one who submits to do the will of Allah. And Islam, right, is my basis and my spiritual foundation. But I can find God anywhere. I'm not going to be judgmental. I'm not worried about being converted because I don't see myself as a label. I see myself as a being. I see myself as a believer. My foundation, my way of life is Islam as taught, right, by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad through the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. That's my foundation. That's my goal, to present myself as this intelligent, spiritual, God-like being. That's who I am. But I didn't recognize God in me. And I'm not silly enough. I'm not slave-minded enough to think that God can't be somewhere else, that he can't be in a synagogue, that he can't be at the hall, that he can't be in another church, that he can't be in somebody who don't look like me, that he can't occupy the mind of somebody who's Christian from Africa, from Scotland. I'm not, I look for all. And so this is part of, and shout out to Brother Yusuf Muhammad, may Allah be pleased with him, because he really taught me and got me on the road of thinking like a God and thinking like a divine person. And just looking from that one statement he said to me. He said, I remember when I was leaving Indianapolis to go to Chicago. And it was so funny because it reminds me of when I see scenes in like Harriet Tubman movies and stuff like that. And if people are wrapping up a little knapsack for the person, got you some chicken and some apples and some stuff, and you about to hit the road, and got you some potatoes in your knapsack. And he said to me, he said, now when you go up there, look for Allah. And I've studied what that means for years. And I just started doing it. And when I started looking for Allah everywhere, I started seeing Allah everywhere. So I'm not nervous about people from churches who have said to me, "You want to visit me out with Elijah Muhammad?" I said, "Okay." And they said, "Would you come to our church?" I said, "We would not come to your church." So the point I'm making is that the making of a slave, the making of a colonized person causes you to pinch off other aspects of God. We say in Islam, when we talk about the 99 attributes of Allah. So you can't say, I'm just down with 2 attributes, because you don't know where. If he's the author of all of this, he can show up anywhere. He can show up in a person who hates you. Because either that person's hate is going to show you something about yourself, or it's going to warn you about some upcoming danger, or sometimes people, even in their hatred, can't help themselves because he can use them. The test is, do we see him? That's the test. That's the test of moving into thinking on a divine level and not pinching off and judging. Oh, I never would have thought that you as a black man would do such and such, or I never would have thought that you as a Muslim woman would do such and such and such and such. People are so judgmental, even down to, say, like certain services that you might get. I've had people say to me, oh, I didn't know Muslim women got their hair done. I said, what do you think you do with our hair? But this is just, and they knew it didn't make sense. They laughed after they said it, but these are the ways of thinking that we move into that are restrictive and living a subtracted lifestyle. See, when you start living a lifestyle of addition and giving and adding instead of a lifestyle of dividing and subtraction, it manifests all over the place. You ever see a picture of somebody and they just look dead? You don't see any kind of link or connection. Let me tell you something. I'll tell you this from experience. When you live in a space and you're moving around, for example, the world, and maybe you are not around the people. Maybe and when I say your people, it could be your people in your circle, in your mosque, in your church. You need some symbol, something that you hold on to, whether it's in your heart or in your body, some practice that links you to your people. Got to be something. When I was, I don't have it with me, but when I was traveling a lot around the world and around the country, I had this one Holy Quran that I would take with me everywhere. It's all tattered because I'd be stuffing it down in bags. And I didn't care how heavy my bag was that I was carrying on, that Quran had to go with me. Because I wanted to continue to connect. That was my life. So, and I say this to all of us that are away. Maybe we're away from the mosque. Maybe we're away from the church. Don't let go of it. Don't let go of it. You let go of your name. Find something else that you can hold on to. But keep that lifeline so that you can make your way back. That you can make your way back. I became acquainted with my soul. This is an interesting thing. I became acquainted with my soul and as a divine being from the period of about 20 years old to maybe 12, 13 years old, 12, 13 years afterwards. And it was a period when I was working very closely at Mosque Mariam, the National Secretary's office, was very closely with John as far as I became very much in touch with my soul. When I left that post, And it's like I got sucked up into a vortex and started traveling literally around the world. And you all have heard me say that I was dealing with all these multifactorial emotions, if you will. That makes sense. Because on the one hand, all I wanted to do was just come back home. I wanted to come back home to my soul. That's what was a thing for me. But then the other side was I was getting blessed in so many ways. I was sitting at tables that I never would have even thought existed. And so I said, I don't want to feel guilty a lot, but I need to find a way to reconnect to my soul. So I made sure that I was keeping a lifeline. I didn't care if it was just wearing a necklace. Something like this might seem really simple. Wearing a commemorative Elijah coin pendant might seem really simple. It's connecting to your lifeline. This is why you see people in the Catholic Church, they wear little charms with the saints and things like that on them. But some, I don't care if you are in the hotel and you sleep in a t-shirt that's got, your religious symbol on it or whatever, but you gotta keep that life because you start to lose your life. And it'll happen degree by degree by degree by degree. You'll look at your skin and you'll see the light and the plumpness leaving from your skin. You'll look at your body and you'll see that the energy has just left it, it's gone. You look at the things that you do. They don't have the creative spirit anymore. They're just mimicking. And then next thing you know, you're around all this deviant behavior and you don't have your lifeline, and those demons and from that deviant behavior jump right into you. Somebody said they're still hearing feedback. Fortunately, I don't know what to do about it. So I think you just have to hang in there. Some people said they turned their television down a little bit. We don't have another speaker. It could be because we're also over on Twitter as well. That very well could be it. Let me know if it's too bad and it's inaudible, and we might disconnect Twitter and see if that happens. We only got like 20 more minutes. We done made it through. But what I'm saying is that by not keeping that protective hedge around yourself, make sure you're praying. And pray in which the manner you were taught. I meet people because they leave the church or they leave the mosque, they change the way they pray. They get so off into something else that they never pray the way that they've been taught that connects them to their foundation. Make sure that you're not altering your dress too much. There's got to be something on you, some symbol that says, this is who I am. And I'll tell you, one of my biggest fears as I was moving around was that I would lose my divinity. Because as a divine person, I consider myself a certain way, but if I lose my divinity, now I'm a regular Black person. And so I made sure I'm not going to dress like a regular Black person. I'm not going to roll like a regular Black person. Why? Because I know that I have this level of supreme wisdom. And in having that supreme wisdom, I have to think of myself as a divine person. Because if I start to become a regular Black person, now I got to judge and compare and all this other stuff. Instead of me going out and creating a vibe, I'm going out subscribing to a vibe. What does that mean? Instead of me going out creating a look, that's how I'm going to dress. I'm going to represent this way. I'm now going into the store looking for what they say is hot. Instead of me wearing the armor of my divinity, I'm like, oh, let me compare myself to the other girls out there So you want to be very careful. You want to be very, very careful to hold on to your lifeline and don't allow yourself to be sucked back in or sucked into a slave way of thinking. And some of us are very quote unquote spiritual. We go to church, we go to mosque, we go to temple, we do all these things, but we still think like slaves. So I want you to take this week. This is going to be our assignment where we just kind of dissect ourselves and think about who we are and how we think. And do we think on a divine level? And the way you will know is if you catch yourself even in your mind criticizing. You catch yourself even in your mind talking about, saying negative things. And the way you flip that around is if you catch yourself being critical of somebody, think about one thing you do to help them. So if you're saying, you know what, I don't really like her, I can't stand Sajdah, she makes me sick. Then instead of letting that fester inside of you, find one thing, one good thing that you can say, and one thing that you can use to help that person. See, when you're in need, give. Because when you're hating on that person, what you're really saying is that you need some kind of validation. You need to justify who you are, and that person's presence is messing you up so that you're questioning. You're questioning who you are. You're questioning what you're doing. So now you need some validation. And so to get that validation, you may feel like you need to destroy that other person. And then working to destroy that other person. Destroy yourself. Okay, so what I'm going to do, we're going to jump over. I'm going to play a commercial. I'm going to go to a break. And I'm going to come back and I'm going to cut off the Twitter feed. And we're going to see if that helps us prevent echo. Okay? We'll be right back.
You belong to yourself. You're an independent people, created from the nation of free people. Yes, sir. You don't need to go nowhere but to yourself. Yes, sir. There will be a great separation. Yes, sir. So I said, it is on now.
The college is meant to prepare you for your future. That the time dictates that if we don't do something for ourselves as a people, we will be destroyed. And the aim of the enemy right now is to take us out.
We have God with us. We have Him as our guide. Yes, sir. We don't have to stand around here and ask the question, what must be done? Yes, sir. Get up and let's go and do something. Yes, sir. We cannot sit down. We cannot lay down. Yes, sir. We must get up. Yes, sir. And go to work.
Do you know what real joy is in life? Visioning something and bringing it into reality. That's real joy. Do you know what the next step in joy is? Behold how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell in unity.
Tonight, you need to fasten your seatbelts. We're going to hear from some of the greatest minds in the world. I don't know about you, but I'm tired of trusting our future and the future of our children into the hands of those who don't love us. I believe we need to revitalize black leadership.
We're back and you're tuning into the Saturday morning talk where we talk about life, love, and business. Let me know in the chat if you still got feedback. We'll see if it was that Twitter feed and or not. We'll see what happens. So let me know in the chat how it sounds at this point. We've been talking about love. We've been talking about operating with a divine mind and not with a slave mind or a conquered mind. I type that in the chat. A conquered mind versus a divine mind. What is the conquered mind? That conquered mind is the mind that says you've been captured and kidnapped and you're thinking in a way that is other than yourself. You know how we know when we are thinking other than ourselves, whether or not we're truly alive? Is when we see ourselves in a little bit of quicksand and we're not manifesting. So we be very careful not to be arrogant because Allah calls us to different levels. And so that conquered mind is going to have a challenge with manifesting if they're doing anything outside of what the conqueror is allowing them to do. And so what I do, if I'm challenged by something, I go inside of myself and say, you know, what do I need to do? Where does my mind need to be? Where am I off? Sometimes I can't figure it out, but I just know at the end of the day, I believe in Allah too much to give up. I believe in God too much to give up. And so I use that to keep going. But don't get so beside yourself where you're like, I'm all this or I'm all that. Because if we were really all this or all that, we'd be manifesting on a level that made us competitive, that make us powerful. We'd be manifesting on a level that says, I want this, and now it's here, right? So it's a process. It's something we have to work at. We have to go inside and study ourselves. What are you seeing? What are you saying? What conversations are you having with yourself right now? What conversations are you having about yourself, with yourself, about yourself? And what conversations are you having with yourself about me, about the broadcast, about the person sitting next to you, about somebody else in the chat, somebody else across town? What conversations are you having in your head? And those conversations are driving your decisions. You can't tell me it's not because we know how powerful thoughts are. So again, always break these things down mathematically. All right. If you got 10 hours, 10 waking hours in a day, how much time are you spending in your divine mind? And how much time are you spending in your comfort mind? If you got 10 minutes of thought, take the next 10 minutes. And if in the next 10 minutes, or let's say the past 10 minutes, take the past 10 minutes, do this at any time throughout the day, the past 10 minutes, and how much of those 10 minutes did you spend in a divine space, and how much of it was in a conquered space? Like how much time did you spend talking about somebody? How much time did you spend afraid? How much time did you spend worrying? How much time did you feel massaging and working on your inordinate view of yourself? How much time? And that'll tell you what you're manifesting. Because what you just finished thinking about 10 minutes ago is what you're putting into your future. The beautiful thing is that as long as you got time, you can turn it around. So maybe the last 10 minutes you spend a little bit too much time ranting and raving about what you're insecure about and how much you don't like this person and how they get on your nerves. Then the next 10 minutes you got to say, okay, I'm not about to do this next 10 minutes. This next 10 minutes, I'm going to just sit here quietly and thank Allah for being here. I'm going to sit here quietly in a space of gratitude. I'm going to sit here in this space and thank God for helping. Thank Him for showing me. Thank Him for my awareness. And so using gratitude is an easy way to recalibrate yourself. Sometimes we forget that. Sometimes we do get negative. Sometimes we have to go off and just come back and look something. Sometimes people get on our nerves, but you gotta spend the time afterwards and turn that thought around and recalibrate yourself. Because if you go from that state of being negative, talking about people, hating on somebody, whatever it is that you're doing, being judgmental, using deceptive intelligence to justify your negativity. The minister teaches us about that deceptive intelligence. Using all of those things, then in the next 10 minutes, and then you go right on into your day. You're carrying that energy throughout the day. That is the atmosphere that you're bringing with you when you walk into a room, when you walk into a store, when you walk into a meeting, when you walk into your business, when you walk into a negotiating position, when you walk into the face of your loved one. So learn how to change that vibration up by using your thoughts so that when you move from that space, now you're going into that meeting, that conversation with a higher vibration, with a divine mind, so that now you are pulling on all the things that the divine wants to send your way because you're showing that you're ready for it. You're lining up. See, it's all about vibration. You're lining up with the right vibration. You are and you become what you say that you want. If you want something, you can't get it without lining up vibrational. Somebody gives it to you and you don't line up vibrationally to it, you're going to lose it anyway, right? It's not going to work out. It's not going to be sustainable. So take that time and say, let me turn myself around. The mind is so tricky. That deceptive intelligence is so sharp. That thing is like a live being up inside of us. We just get so deceptive. It will say, oh, you see people and you see them talking in a certain way. Oh, I just love you. Really, they don't. But I'm not talking to us about how we deal with people who suffer these things and direct these things towards us. I'm talking to us when we are directing that energy, when we are sending that vibe out, when we are walking around silently hating on somebody, when we are walking around silently being negative about ourselves. Sometimes we look in the mirror at ourselves and say, man, I'm really not satisfied. I don't even like how I'm looking today. And then we take that right out into the world. And so we feel ugly all day long. We feel fat all day long. We look in the mirror in the morning and say, damn, I'm broke. We feel broke all day long. Maybe you really are fat and maybe you really are broke, but you got to change that vibration. You got to say, all right, I'm on a little chunky side, but I'm going to work on myself because I'm grateful to be here. I'm grateful to have another chance to turn this around. I'm grateful to still be functioning at a capacity where I can figure this out. And so you start to turn that energy around. So now when you walk into that room, you're walking into that room with the energy and the vibration of hope and the vibration of love, not the vibration of I'm subtracted, I'm divided, I'm messed up. You just dealt with somebody, for example, who was negative towards you. Take a minute, fix your vibration. Say, you know what? I don't care if you don't say nothing, but say, I'm grateful for you. Say, I'm saying, I see that against the enemy. I don't care if you just have to say that, but God is put your vibration on. This is what the things that we need to do. So when we make that phone call, we go to an event. You go to an event, or you go to your job, or you go to your business, and you're looking to create a certain level of cash flow. What conversations do you say with yourself? Say to yourself, are you saying, man, ain't nobody making money today? Guess what? If that's what you're saying, you ain't gonna make no money. Because it could be that one person that comes in your store that day, or comes to your table that day, or comes into your office that day that makes your year. So don't always look for the numbers. You get there, you should be saying, I'm so grateful for you. I'm grateful to have this opportunity. And Allah, what I pray is that the efforts that I've been putting forth, maybe they're not perfect, but I pray that you see my efforts in that. You send the right people my way. You got a financial goal, you say, you know what? We really need to make $1,000 today. Then when you walk into that room, oh, thank you, Allah, for this opportunity to make this $1,000 today. Thank you, Allah, for this opportunity. Thank you so much for bringing that $1,000 to us today. Not, man, these people in here looking crazy. Don't nobody support me. I don't know why they treat me like this. And that's messed up. They invited me to this place and nobody up in here, and this ain't nothing. It's all about your vibration. You could be sitting on your couch and get that $1 million phone call. The question is, what are you thinking? And are you in your conquered mind, or are you in your divine mind? That divine mind is always seeking Allah, always looking for Allah, walking in the room going, this room feels good. Even if you walk in the room and people are being negative and hating on you, you may have to say, there's no weapon formed against me that shall prosper. I know I'm going to be all right because Allah has prepared that table for me. You may have to say that. But whatever you got to say, make sure you're controlling your vibration. I hope that makes sense. Have some conversation. Work on your conversation with yourself. If you don't, I'm telling you that negativity will creep in. And let me say this last thing. It becomes like a cancer. Because that little viral infection begins to metastasize and infect all the aspects of your life. Next thing you know, you got this nasty cancer flowing through your life. It's like a live germ or a live cell, a live vibration that's running through your life. And that live vibration begins to alter your cellular structure. It alters your decisions. It alters who you are. It alters everything around you because that live vibration is so vibrant. I'm not saying to you is switch it around. Even if something bad has happened to you in your life, heaven forbid. If you can't do nothing but say, you know what, I'm not necessarily thankful for this happening to you because it's been terrible. I'm not worshiping the problem. But what I am doing is I'm grateful for you because you brought me through. I'm grateful because you helped me to think my way back to you. Despite hitting rock bottom, despite being in a position where I've been abused or hurt, I'm grateful. I'm grateful. Grateful for being able to see. So again, the idea is be conscious of the conquered mind versus the divine. Looking for Allah. All right, with that, y'all, that's what we are starting for Saturday morning coffee talk. I think something else I'm working on is doing the coffee talks in a setting, like a cozy setting. Now, sometimes I do it in the fireplace, do it in front of the fireplace. I have several rooms that I'm working on being able to do it in, where maybe we just sitting on the couch together, just sipping on some coffee, but just changing it up a little bit, having a little bit of fun. It's all about evolution, right? It's all about, I live my life in a space of evolution and revelation. So I always want to evolve to the next level and the next level and just pulling on that revelation from Almighty God. So thank you all for listening this morning. You all saw the commercial for the commemorative Elijah coin. I have to remind you guys to go out there and order. You may get a phone call from some of our new experienced reps. We've got a couple of reps that are helping us transfer our experience with the Honorable Elijah Muhammad onto you and to others so that we share that experience. Those experienced reps are also experienced salespeople. So you may get a call from them, especially if you're in Atlanta or in Los Angeles. You may get a call from one of those persons, or Chicago, Atlanta, Los Angeles, or Chicago, reminding you to go out and order your commemorative Elijah coin pendants. You know what? This is something that's interesting. A couple days before the 125th birth anniversary of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, we had already bound up and cleaned some of the copper that we said, oh, you know what, this is ready to go. We can send this out to the foundry. We sent it out to the foundry, and they said, you have enough here for 125 points. So on the 125th birth anniversary of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, we sent in the copper, and they had to weigh it, and they said you can get 125 points. So those 125 points, inshallah, will be in next week. So it's important that you pre-order if you want to participate in our Gift of Pioneer program. Our experienced reps will be reaching out to you, or you can send me an email. You can send that email to sajdahhouse@gmail.com if you want to donate a coin for a pioneer. We are just going to love on our pioneers here between now and Savior's Day and show gratitude to them for the work that they've done. And I don't need for y'all to just do it in spirit. Just don't be like, oh, that's cool, we're with you. No, actually make a donation so that you can help us. When you send me an email and you say you want to participate in the Gift of Pioneer program, depending on where you live, I'm going to forward you to one of our experienced reps. They're going to get you set up so that you can, the coin can be given to the pioneer as part of your gift or donation. So, let's not be fake, right? That's another thing that a conquered mind is. A conquered mind is very fake. A conquered mind that believes in the spirit of God thinks that they can just go, oh yeah, I'm doing this, I'm down. But you have to actually do the work. You have to actually put in the energy and the effort and do the work. So make a donation, order your commemorative Elijah coin, participate in the Gift of Pioneer. I keep telling y'all, you're going to be gone. Nothing wrong with the graded coins, but if you just want a piece of the home to wear, you want to start wearing jewelry that matters. I started wearing jewelry that matters when I was in college. So you'll see me always with some kind of bracelet or ring on or earrings or necklace that has a spiritual significance or makes a statement or something that it comes from somewhere, whether it's silver from Africa or Mexico or South Africa. I've always been wearing jewelry that matters, and I just think it's important. So that's why this commemorative Elijah coin is cool for me. You guys probably remember before this, I used to wear these stones and stuff that I got from different countries that I travel in, but that's just kind of part of my wardrobe, right? So order your commemorative Elijah coin. I'm saying all that to say. And one last thing, I'm putting across the bottom of the channel, make a donation, Cash App, $Mo today, but make sure you join the mailing list, okay? We want to be able to communicate with one another outside of social media because you never know what could happen. So I want you to text Do For Self, that's DO the number 4, SELF to 855-574-9099. It's going across the screen. Donate. Freedom ain't free. So, and I'm giving you all this free game for free because my motto is the game is free and I just charge for services. So I come out here just to give you all game on how to think like an entrepreneur, how to think like a manifester, game on some of the things that I've learned over the years in my life, and just game, free game, period. Free game from experiences that I've already bought and paid for with my blood, sweat, and tears. So it ain't going to waste. I've already paid for this stuff, blood, sweat, and tears. So I will share it. It's a reward, and I will share that reward with my family and friends. And if you are a supporter and a follower, you're a family or a friend. And so I'm grateful for you. So make sure you make a donation. $ Mo today, MOETODAY. You know, no amount is too small. Join the Sajdah Circle of Winners. Text Food for Self to 855-574-9099 and make sure that you get your commemorative Elijah coin, because when they come in next week, there's probably not going to be any more left. Now, I don't want y'all looking at me going, wait a minute, where are they? And I'm going to direct you to the more expensive option, but it's actually a value-added option because you get the membership number, and your membership to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad House will be a part of the purchase of this coin. All right? Okay, so peace and blessings, family. I love you all. Thank you, thank you. I see you all in the chat. I appreciate you all, and we will chat via the will of Allah soon. And make sure you add the Mind of an Entrepreneur to your Roku channel lineup. All right, peace and blessings.